Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Mumbles. Today, I'm here to bring you guys another game review. A game review. Oh, yeah. And the game that we'll be reviewing today is Deadcells. Now, before we get into any of that, I do have to ask you guys all a huge favor. Please, if you haven't already, do make sure to subscribe. It really helps out the channel. We've been growing, and I just want to see those growth numbers continue. And it's just a great way for you guys to keep up to date with what I do every day on YouTube. So please do subscribe. And yeah, now that I got that out of the way, let's talk about this game. Now, Deadcells is a game that is available for $24.99 on multiple systems. Those systems include Linux, Mac, PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. And today we'll be reviewing Deadcells on the Xbox One. Now, with that in mind, everything and all the gameplay footage will be from the Xbox One. So you can just know that, have that in your mind. All this footage comes from Xbox One. So what is Deadcells? Now, Deadcells is a game that is pretty Castlevania-like. Now, what do I mean by that? Basically, this game is a 2D hack and slash type game. And the basic premise of this game is that you basically want to get as far as you can each playthrough and gain as many new abilities as you can each playthrough. Then unfortunately you're gonna die, but you'll respawn, you will have learned something, and you will do this over and over and over and over and over again until eventually the hope is that you will beat the game. So that is basically what Deadcells is in a nutshell. I'll get more into it in the gameplay section, but I just wanted to give you guys a brief overview of what this game was about. Now let's talk about the graphics, the soundtrack, and the controls. First off, the graphics in this game is gorgeous. This game looks gorgeous. The environment around it looks gorgeous. This game has just some pretty graphics, which is something that a 2D games like this really needs. When you create a hack and slash game in today's world, you gotta have good graphics. And the way that they put the graphics together on this, they really exceeded expectations in my opinion. Soundtrack wise, I'm gonna use one of my favorite terms. I've used it multiple times now in multiple game reviews. Gaming elevator music. This game has some nice grooving music that will keep you interested and enjoying your experience. Gaming elevator music. Now, with that being said, the sound effects such as the slashing of your sword, things like that, they're great. They're fantastic. And the soundtrack itself is really good also. But it is gaming elevator music. It's just kind of background noise that is just kind of there to keep you, you know, when I'm not doing anything, I hear the music. That kind of stuff. Now, control-wise, again, I am reviewing this on the Xbox One, so I used an Xbox One controller, obviously. And I can say that control-wise, the button layout for the Xbox One is really solid and really well done. But beyond that, the movement of jumping, of combat, and the mechanics of the game themselves are very sound. This is a very sound game. That you can expect when you need to nail a jump that you can nail that jump. You can expect when you are going to attack someone, you can do that correctly. There's no real, downside or, the combat does this or that. This is a very combat and mechanical sound game. So control-wise, A++, they did a great job with them. Now let's talk about the gameplay. This is very much a hack and slash game, but they do a great job of changing things up. Now, what do I mean by that? Basically, each time you die and have to start at the beginning, you can expect an entirely new experience. How do they do that? First off, they changed the level design. They basically randomize each level that you're going through. So you will never see the same level twice. You will see the same background, you will see the same aesthetic to that level, but never the same layout to a level. Never the same place will enemies be in. They're always going to be somewhere different. So they do a great job of changing that up. But another way that they make things interesting is they change up what it gives you in each level. So for example, maybe one time you're playing through and you'll find a great bow and arrow and a great sword. Next gameplay, you might not find that. You might find a hammer. You might find a special ability. Totally random. So basically one playthrough, you might not be set up to fight certain bosses. Another playthrough, you might be set up better than your wildest dreams with certain bosses. It all just depends. Now, let's talk about the progression system in this game. This game has a pretty cool progression system. Unlike some die, rinse, and repeat games that basically give you all your stuff at the beginning, this game chooses to only give you certain things that it thinks you need. Such as, for example, one item that you'll be able to unlock as you play through this is a health potion. Now, once you unlock that, you will get that at the start of each playthrough. So you never have to unlock that again. But certain things you won't get, certain weapons you won't get. You'll have to find them again. So it is always kind of a balancing act as to what you're given and what you're going to get. And that is how the progression system works in this game. Certain things are held over and certain things aren't. Now finally, the combat and the enemies. There's a ton of different kinds of enemies in this game, and they all basically have their own way of being approached to best attack them. So you have to basically learn the enemy, learn what they can do, and figure out how best to destroy them. And certain weapons are going to work better on some people than other people. So they do a great job of kind of just changing things up all the time, and that's how they keep this game so interesting. So now let's talk about the cons. The first con to this game is that there's no real story to it. I'm not going to hate on this game for not having a story, but it would have been cool to know what this soul is doing and why they're doing it and what their ultimate goal is other than just escape. You know, I say this a lot, but stories can really push a game that is good to being a game that is great. So just do keep that in mind as we progress through this review. Now the final con that is in this game is the difficulty. This is a hard game, guys. There's no other way to put it. It's not unbeatable, it's not Dark Souls, so don't get scared of it, but it is difficult. It's a hard game. You're gonna have to struggle until you learn how to fight the bosses. You're gonna have to struggle until you get that right equipment loadout that you need in order to defeat a boss. You're gonna struggle and struggle and struggle, but when you get it, it is so satisfying. Now with all that in mind, the only thing left to ask is, what is this game going to get on our Mumbles review? Deadcells did a great job of putting together a complete experience. The only thing that was missing for me was a story. For some people, they'll say, oh well, but for me, I'm all about that complete game experience. If you're going to create a game, then tell me what the purpose is. We're in 2018 now, guys. If you're going to create a game, you could take 5 minutes to build a little bit of a story around it. And it's always kind of a thing for me. I just like to see something. It doesn't have to be much, just something. Give me a reason to want to play it. So the fact that it's lacking a story is going to detract from the score a little bit. And that is why today, instead of giving Deadcells a 9 out of 10, I'm only giving Deadcells an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 game, and it's getting detracted because of the story mainly. If it had a story, this would easily be a 9 out of 10 game, but it just needed a little bit more. So anyways, guys, this has been my review of Deadcells. I want to thank you guys all so much for joining me. Please smack that subscribe button, smack that like button, smack all those buttons, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.